please?
Okay, start the meeting with the pledge.
Yes, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have, what's on the agenda? Continuing preliminary site plan and special permit review for Baker Lane, Stevens Wade / Cottage Lane with McCarty Engineering, Inc. I will entertain a motion to reopen the public hearing.
Make a motion, we reopen the hearing.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor? Yep. All right, good. Excuse me. The reason we're meeting tonight primarily is to discuss the options of conventional subdivision or cluster development. I did remind the applicant that we do have inclusionary housing bylaw in town. What that means is for every, I think it's every 8 or 7. One or the
It
other.
was 9, but I'll double check that.
Okay, but for every like 7 or 8 houses, they have to put a affordable housing. And it is no different in houses. You couldn't spot one from the other. Just a matter of it's something we have in town to offer affordable housing within any subdivision. And we always make them round up if depending on where the numbers stand. You know, if it ends up being no question, we have a round up. Does the board any takes on conventional subdivision or cluster?
Well, reading this over again, I wondered about the stormwater basins. They're only gonna have 2. One that sits on a ledge and on a hillside. I wonder if that's gonna be adequate to accommodate.
Well, right now, this is just a conceptual preliminary. It's not even really preliminary.
But I think
It's really just more of a-
to be considered.
Yeah, regardless which route they go, we can bring that up with the applicant depending on which way we side, but right now it's just a matter of direction for
Right.
them to say either cluster, which uses less land, leaves more open space versus
You know, I guess
other way.
50% of it is set aside for open space.
correct. Anybody take on that, Charlie?
I mean, I like the idea of more open space. So to me, it's just better for the environment and everything else if you just have less development, less, disturbed land and all of that. So
Mhm.
that's my take on that.
Okay. Well, Dennis, what do you? Okay.
Also,
Is John on board, by the way? Is John-
sure, the water department has been involved or will be involved, but I wonder how much they're gonna have to upgrade the system to accommodate this too. That's another consideration.
But all those talks are for, right now, it's just a directional thing,
Right.
which method we wanted to go.
But those are things we need to think about down the road.
Yeah,
Mm.
I know they did talk about looping the water main, which is good for everybody, so there's no dead end line. The only dead end will be
Mm.
the very last loop of
Mhm.
Stevens Way, but at least you guys won't be getting the end of the line, so to speak, like they do now.
Right.
So definitely improve the quality of water up the end of Baker Street, Baker Lane. So, I myself, I think, the more open space and less development is, advantageous for everybody,
It's
so,
gonna be a very congested area with all those houses. It's true.
but just to put more road with more,
More
for the
open
same
space,
outcome,
sidewalks on both sides and so on.
yeah.
No,
I mean, this will be the first, I think this will be our first cluster, development, Lori, am I not mistaken?
I don't know of any others, and I've
No, I
Right.
think
been here a while.
this will be the first one. And we put that bylaw in place for a reason to
Right.
do just that, save land.
Right.
And, I think when it comes to the open space, whether we need to I know they always donate it to the town, but every time you donate the land to the town, the
Comes up
open space
taxable,
comes up the
nothing.
tax roll, so.
Right.
We might wanna give that some thought and try to get creative somehow, some way. You know, but we could, that's conversation for another day, but,
If it makes it to actual development.
right, if
Okay.
if it ends up being built out, it's just something maybe we'll wanna consider, cause I know years ago, we were approving subdivisions with all this open space, we're taking, you know, hundreds of acres off the
Right.
tax maps. It still benefits the townspeople to a certain extent,
Right, but
but
having the tax.
Something we
revenue
can-
coming in.
see if there's any way we can address that. So, anybody in the audience have anything, they care to add?
Mike Belvada, 14 Stevens Way. So if they don't do the subdivision, and they don't do the open space,
There gonna be open space regardless.
what,
There will be open space regardless.
okay, but, oh, they were talking about having to meet the 1 acre lot, and they had the lines going all over the place,
Right, correct.
but I didn't see any, the drainage. There was no drainage included in that plan. I saw the drain, they had the little ponds.
Yeah.
For the subdivision with the open space, but when there was no open space, they didn't have that, so I'm just.
That was just basically a preliminary.
Yeah,
There was no like serious engineering done on it
yeah,
because the fact that they're looking for direction as to whether they're gonna do a cluster or conventional. So I think it was more of a layout showing that they have the room to do it under their conventional subdivision. They have plenty of room. So basically saying that means we have twice as much room if we do it under the cluster.
okay,
So they still have the same amount of land.
yeah,
But
but the land they need so much, it looked like they were using all that land, the open space land they were using. But to meet the acre lot,
exactly.
so that, to me, it looks like there's no room to put any ponds unless you're. Taken away from that, the lot.
Well,
there.
Under the conventional subdivision, they don't have to, supply as much open space,
Yeah,
where on the cluster,
yeah,
they do.
Okay.
And that's why we require them to show conventional and cluster to us.
Yeah.
So we can weigh out the balances ourselves. So right now, it's really just a direction thing. That's why it wasn't, even Wes had said it's. Short of just drawing it on a napkin in a diner or something like that, that was kind of what we was offering. There was no engineering put into it, other than the fact that
it could be this.
the space in the allocation for houses is there.
Yeah.
That's basically what they were trying to show us, that
Okay.
under a worst case, which I should say worst case, but under a full-blown acre per, minimum acre, this is what you're gonna get versus if you do a cluster, they can tighten it up, so.
Yeah.
Either one requires stormwater management, though.
What's that?
Either one requires stormwater
exactly,
management
yeah.
with an actual plan.
Yeah, and regardless of, if they go with a cluster, I know you guys have some water issues up there. This board, we still have the authority and the power to say, we want you to do a little more, a little extra, or a couple of diversion trenches or what have you to try to minimize what you guys,
And with something being done up there, it should actually hopefully handle that water and have it.
Well, especially if they let trees
What's that?
grow back in.
Well, exactly.
It'll correct the problem that we have now.
I know it won't be worse because they're bound by the regs to make, the pre and post has to be at minimum the same, if not less, as far as stormwater runoff. And that's where the same way the basins work. If you get 1 million gallons come off the hill during a 100-year storm, now, it doesn't matter how many roads impervious surface they put up there, it can't exceed that.
Hmm.
And as far as even the discharge where it goes, it can't exceed it. It can't flood it all at once. It has to slowly release it. But like I said, the engineering part, right now, we're just dealing with 2 conceptual plans and which way we feel is best for the town. I mean, either way, they're within their right to develop the land.
Mhm.
So now we're trying to say, the cluster development will be a minimal impact versus a maximum impact if they go with the full 1 acre lots.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to figure out what's best. And that was why that bylaw was put into place. To try to do just that is just, you get, if your yield is, I don't know what they said, if your yield is 25 housing units, they're gonna get it either way, so why not use less land?
Rather than disturbing the
Versus more
entire
land.
parcel,
Well,
you actually,
And that goes with any parcel in town as far as for development.
Okay.
But it would be nice to see, I'm surprised it's been this long since we've seen a subdivision, but. Having the inclusionary housing in there is definitely a benefit for the town because. As we all know, people that live here can't even afford to live here anymore, never mind their family or, people grow, in-laws, outlaws, whatever you wanna call it, so. It's hard for a kid to stay in his own town these days. Anybody else, Gary?
Yeah, Robert Stevens Way. A lot of that stuff was what ifs. There's no concrete anything. They wouldn't tell us what kind of houses with, if they're gonna be two duplexes, if they're gonna be low income housing. I mean, they're throwing things at you and hope you okay it, and then once you okay it, they can change it all to whatever. Are they gonna have anything in writing that's gonna say, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen? And can they change it after they get an okay?
Well, they can build a duplex by right. We as planning, we handle the roads, the creation of lots, so on and so forth. Once the subdivision is approved, they're at liberty for any lot to do whatever the bylaws, allow them to do. No one's gonna build a low-income housing development, because if they're gonna do that, they might as well do a 40B. Because the state allows it and the state has allocations for grant money and so on and so forth for the developer. So these days, it's even hard for a developer to do the inclusionary housing because they basically have to build houses and turn them out into the market for basically a break-even number, or even a loss sometimes, just so they can sell their other homes. So to answer your question, we don't, if they were planning a apartment complex, then yeah, we'd have more say in it, but they're not. And it'd be no different than yourself buying a lot. And it's up to you whether you put a single family home or a duplex on it, because it's just by right, it's in our bylaws. So I can't, and we're not there yet as far as, right now, they're just looking for the footprint. Are they gonna do a cluster or are they gonna do an expansive footprint? And so I shouldn't say stuck, but it's just the way our bylaws are. So we're just trying to follow the bylaws and how they're written. And
I know you say that they can they can go by the law after
yeah,
agreement goes in.
Yeah.
Is anything gonna be in writing after that? I mean, they can do all kinds of various things. If you okay something, you don't even know what you're okaying. They can change everything.
as far as
That road can go right to Stevens Way. They have a phantom gate. It's a lock gate. What if somebody just opens, is it an open gate? What happens if somebody keeps using it? Is there any?
well, that's gonna be a town, once it's in and accepted, it'll be a town gate, it'll be a town road and a town gate. So the town's gonna be responsible for it, whether it be the highway, or I imagine highway and public safety, ambulance,
So construction trucks can't, well, we need to open the gate. We gotta let all the construction trucks in today because they're building this. They're gonna use that road as a regular road.
it's just a matter of how we write the regs, I mean, in the order of conditions. The order of conditions is basically, it's the directions of how we're gonna let you develop it, not develop it, whether we say everything goes up Cottage Lane or what have you.
and that's the, in the subdivision, we do have those controls in place to be able to say that, certain construction, once everything's accepted in a later date, it does change, but during construction, all of that, we can put those rules and regs in place to make sure that things are.
Who enforces it?
Actually, during construction, actually, the police would do it. Because we have mechanisms for fining and stuff like that too, but we can only do with what we have in front of us as far as what we have for rules and regs in the town. I mean, speed limit's 55. I did 80 on my way here. Okay. Can't give me a ticket now. Because Lori sent me a text. You coming or what?
I might have done that.
we're not the planning board police, but when we design something, help design, we'll lay it out, we do what we can, and we always keep the town's interests at heart. It's always about the town, so that's why we encourage participation in the meetings. I know you guys are coming because you're direct abutters, but anytime we have a meeting, we don't have all the greatest ideas, but if nobody else is here to give us a better one, we deal with what we have. I mean, that's all we can do.
Well, to me, that's the whole point is nobody's protecting our neighborhoods or our town. These people come in, they're all out of towners. They all got out of town money coming into these small towns. They come in, they destroy neighborhoods and they walk away counting their money and the town's left with what's left behind. They're gonna be long gone. You watch, the water and sewer are gonna be a problem down the road. Even Bob's, the water and sewer guy said, it's gonna take a lot of money. You said $1 million bond. I think he was talking, and this was a couple of years ago, it was like 2 and 3 million to upgrade those things. So I think the town's gonna get stuck with a lot of bills after the fact that they're gonna be long gone. And we're gonna be stuck with all kinds of things like that. Nobody seems to be protecting our neighborhood and our town from these out-of-towners coming in. And all they're in here for is the money. They're not here to make our neighborhoods better. They're here for the money.
No, which everybody's entitled to do.
I agree, but
I mean,
it seems like somebody should be protecting our town and our neighborhood from these kind of people.
I can't label that kind of people, and I'll give you an example. You have like Fern Drive, Ledge Road over there off of Ballins Road. Beautiful subdivision. You got Michael's Lane up there by Gilman Way goes around here. Beautiful, nice homes out there. Stevens Way was supposed to be a finished subdivision, but that was before we had the protections in town. It was before my time on the board, but before we had the protections in town. But not to throw it back at you, but you live in a subdivision yourself. You know what I mean? It was somebody's backyard at one time. The people on Baker Lane, I'm sure, did not want to see that going in way back
I
then.
used to ice skate up there.
Okay, so are you on Baker Lane itself? Okay, so you weren't thrilled when Stevens Way was going in, I'm sure.
I was,
His house was built at the same time as Stevens.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you were thrilled then.
I wouldn't do that.
Maybe your neighbor wasn't thrilled. But that's the point I'm trying to make. It's
And when somebody owns land, they have certain rights and, we at least have the controls to be able to do what we can to control that and make it as easy for the town and the, neighborhood. But, it's just like, we can't really tell you what to do with your house until it's affecting somebody else and things like that. So that's where it's one of those tough situations, but when somebody else owns land, they can do what they, within certain rights and so
Yeah.
it's always good to buy more land.
yeah.
Just, I don't know if this has anything to do with what we're talking about tonight, but a
That's
question on the road.
Just put your name on the record.
Greg McGowan, Baker Lane. The right of way is supposed to be, for the road, it's supposed to be 50 feet, all right? And I asked this back a couple of years ago. I asked, there's a pinch point. My property goes right up to the Stevens Lane.
Oh, you're the last house on the right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were told when we bought it that people were looking at that property to develop it, but they needed 3 feet to make it a 50-foot wide road.
That's why they're coming off of Cottage Lane.
Well, I don't, last time when I asked that question, this was from a previous developer, the architect or whatever you call him, said, oh no, we measured it in this 50 feet. They measured it from the outside of the radius, not the inside of the radius. 'Cause
Yeah.
I measured it too. There's a pinch point in there
Mhm.
from my property to the property, the next house up. So how can that be made into a town road?
It's not, it's actually gonna be emergency access only, off the one coming off of Stevens Way.
I thought
It's
it's
gonna
gonna meet town regulations. to be a town road.
I mean, if it's 47 feet,
Road's a road.
they'd have to go for a variance for the 3 feet.
The 3. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just talking a few feet.
Yeah.
Because a right of way would be, it's no different than most, well, for the most part, most town roads are. But under the new subdivision, they'll say 50-foot public access as far as for highway.
Right.
But the pavement's only 26 feet wide.
Right,
Yeah, so, no, I'm just saying, so that's why the 50 feet is really required because you have your radiuses, you can usually squeak your radiuses in. And sometimes you can't, but usually they'll put the radius itself will go on the public land anyways, when you're accessing a normal, a road, so. But right now, we're just looking for which way we're gonna send the developer as far as the development, so. So basically, we haven't had a hearing yet, we haven't seen a plan yet. You know what I mean, if, for argument's sakes.
Right.
It was just like, which way are we going? We going plan A, we going to go ask them to go plan A or plan B? And there'll be plenty of time to, beat it up or, assault the plan as things progress, but right now it's just a question of cluster or conventional. Hope that don't make everybody happy, but that's kind of what we're stuck against right now.
I have a question too. The two-family versus single-family, I've been reading the bylaws and it's difficult to do. But, I thought it said you needed double the amount of land if you want to build a duplex versus a single family.
I'd have to look, I
I
don't,
don't think so.
No,
the two families by right.
Yeah.
And you can do up to,
Isn't it?
you can do, you can do up to 6 just with a special permit, a 6-family unit.
okay,
But 2 is just, you could have your plans made, go to the building inspector and, oh, okay, yeah, 2-family, just normal procedures.
and you don't need extra land.
There's no special permit or anything like that either.
Yeah.
It's by right, it's no different to get a single-family permit, you can get a 2-family permit.
Right, yeah.
But we do have in our bylaw, I think it's up to 6.
6 is
By,
special.
by special permit.
Okay.
And I think we have a 6-unit over on 68 in Baldwinsville, if I'm not mistaken. After Baldwin Drive, on the left-hand side, I think there's a, isn't there a 4 or 6 family that was built out there years ago, but I do recall it. On Route 68, on Gardner, we don't call it. Right after Baldwin Drive, on the same side as Baldwin Drive, heading towards Gardner. On the left, a couple houses down, there is like a 4-family right there. But that was just by, special permit, I'm not sure if it's ZBA or planning. You want to research, Charlie, your technical
Yeah.
friend?
No, research.
Friend?
I'm actually looking at, because I thought it was 4 families, or 4 units was by right.
Yes,
So I was looking at the bylaws.
all right. All right, with that being said, anybody want a motion this,
I'll make a motion, we continue the public hearing.
no, we need to make a decision on, conventional subdivision or cluster or, for density purposes.
I guess I'd make a motion that we go with a conventional subdivision.
Conventional, you want to use more land?
Hmm?
You want to use more land, or you want to do,
Well, I don't want to give up the open space, but I think this is going to be awful congested with,
we have water and sewer, that's why. I mean, you can make the motion, just see where it goes, that's all. Is that your motion?
any more opinions about. I realize it's going to use up and we won't have the open space, but
I like the idea of having more open space. And keeping it, you're not impacting the land as much, you're leaving it more natural. That's my thought.
Right, we're still in discussion then. Is anybody gonna are you making a motion, Dennis? Started to, so-
I'll retract that then.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we let them know that we would prefer to see, like,
I'll call it cluster for the sake of
Cluster.
the density.
yes,
You're a second on Charlie's motion?
I'll second
Okay,
it.
motion made in second, discussion. Myself, I'd rather go with the cluster than conventional, just as far as for impact and just disturbance up there. Because there's so many issues to start with. I think they can handle it
Yeah,
better.
my concern is just that it's gonna be a lot of congestion. Each housing development will have each housing unit will have a couple of vehicles probably, and
Are we still talking, is it a half acre, I think, on the cluster? It's a half acre without septic system, so.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll
Frank?
second Charlie's.
Yeah, okay, so we already seconded, that was discussing, Frank, we get discussion?
Yeah.
Which one, you good, you ready to vote?
Yeah, the one
Okay.
that,
All right, all in favor of doing the cluster development?
Oh,
Okay, all right, it's unanimous, Lori.
I have a question.
Yeah,
So when this was advertised, it talked about planning board acting under the Templeton zoning bylaws for preliminary site plan review and special permit request for an open space residential development. Did your motion cover that?
that's, I kept calling it cluster because I didn't know the terminology, so.
Okay.
Charlie, is that acceptable?
Sure.
We just said cluster because we weren't sure what the,
Okay,
more of a density thing than anything. Okay, so does that motion still carry then, based on the
Do you want that
definition?
word, do you want it cleaned up a little bit? The verbiage?
I think if you wanna read from,
Yeah, okay. So why don't we, Charlie, let's just keep it clean. Why don't you make a motion to
amend.
amend the,
Yes, I make a motion to amend the motion
to
to
include,
include the verbiage from the public hearing notice.
fair enough, that work for you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so all in favor now? Okay. Good,
Thank you.
all right, so now I will,
That was just.
Lori, you have the calendar in front of you. We need to. I'm gonna say. I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing. And I'm gonna say out to July 20. Oh wait, not the 15th. Oh, July 1st is on a Tuesday this year, so we got 5 Tuesdays. I don't want to meet just for the sake of meeting on the 22nd, so you want to go August 12th? So I'd imagine the applicant being that they're not here, they're gonna need time to prepare plans and whatnot, so. So I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing till August 12th. At 6:30,
So,
so moved.
The consulting engineer had a chance to start reviewing.
Well, no, we haven't even picked anybody yet, because haven't submitted anything.
But you were looking at taking.
No, just continue the public hearing, this is still a
Oh,
public hearing,
yeah, I know, but
so.
that'll give him more time to,
We'll give them time to prepare a
Yeah.
plan based on our ruling tonight.
yeah,
Okay, so is that a second, Dennis?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor of that? Okay. All right, so the public hearing is officially continued till August 12th at 6:30. Being the second Tuesday, correct, okay.
the only thing, I only got one thing to say right now.
It's too late
Uh,
now.
When you just see 4 people here, there's not much interest of the rest of the people.
I think they forgot it was tonight.
Yeah, but they can forget the next one too and the next one. I mean, I
That's
think
why I told them at that last meeting, say, listen, you have to follow along because we don't keep
that
re-inviting.
don't
I
help.
know some of them didn't think they would be able to talk.
Yeah,
it's,
They didn't think they would.
everybody's always allowed to talk.
It just don't look good for the
You can-
project,
yeah.
4 people.
People remind me to shut up sometimes, never mind, remind me to talk.
That's just me.
That's just.
It's too hot, too hot.
It's all, just you stay.
if they actually submit plans, then we'll have more, something to really look at and say, okay, these are, you know. Oh, at this point, it was just preliminary plans. So once they actually submit something, then we'll have more questions and there'll be a lot more to look at.
They'll be able to make objections if we don't like it.
Oh, yeah, the
Yep.
whole, every step of the way.
Yep.
Get the massager thing every step of the way. Okay, number 2. Second on the agenda, reorganization of planning board. Anybody? Get a motion, anything else?
I'll make a motion that we maintain a current slate of officers for the planning board.
I'll second that.
You found that? Okay. All in favor? All right,
You could mention that we need other members.
oh, yeah, what, are we down 2 members now?
Mhm.
Says,
The last 2 were.
how do you get new members? You pay them.
Anybody want to be on the board?
Yeah. For a couple of weeks.
No, then he couldn't say anything, he'd be conflict.
I can vote though.
For a couple of weeks, he says, no. All right, review minutes of June 10th, I already did, so I'm gonna wait for anybody to speak up on that?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted. Second.
I don't know if they read them yet.
Did my homework before I got here, read them.
You already read
That's
them?
good.
All right, Dennis seconds it. All in favor of the minutes? Okay. Number 4, new business for next meeting of July 8th, discussion. And this is if anybody has any new business, correct?
You can also email me, you know, that if something happens that you want to have on the agenda.
What was it? Yeah, it was something I wanted to. There was nothing that can't wait anyways, but okay. Do we have anything?
I have something for the, probably more like old business.
You go ahead.
Where is the project in Gardner? I know we were the one that's on the opposite side, but
You can
between,
talk about
the
it
other
on
side.
July 8th if you want. We can put it on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
just wondering where it is, that's all.
Or you can call me tomorrow
Okay,
and I can talk to you about it.
okay, you know where.
Being it's not on the agenda, we can't really discuss it right now.
Yes, yeah, that's fine.
So,
No,
I already get spanked for that.
What do you want, you're more involved in it? Oh, no,
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 okay.
no, it's Bill's,
So if you just want to talk to Lori during regular business hours, she can,
okay,
okay.
all right, we'll do that.
So with that being said, we don't know, we have any new business we want to bring up at the next meeting? No, okay. All right, that's gonna be something that's on every agenda now. Okay, number 5, how to get new members for the planning board?
And
Monetary compensation might help.
Well,
We have a liquor
I-
license here?
Mike did express an interest of being back on the board. I can send him
Oh, yeah.
a
I'll ask him.
volunteer form and ask him if he's still interested.
Yeah.
And then it can go through the select board and you can do a joint meeting again at one of the select board's meetings.
Because we don't,
Vote on it.
I know it's on like the town's website or wherever.
It is. It
But
is.
no takers, so,
I mean, he
My
was
two-
knowledgeable, so
yeah, because we got, right now, we
it's gonna
have,
be short one.
5, I'll tell you what, why don't we, if Mike's still interested, then by all means, love to have him come back.
Okay.
However, if he's not, I think maybe we should just go to, whatever procedure we need to discuss going to a 5-member board. Cause it's getting harder and harder, cause even like getting a quorum, you have a 7-member board, but 2 people, we don't have 2 people. So we need 4 all the time.
And you have one that travels a lot.
Right, so, just my 2 cents, so
Yeah.
why don't we, if you don't mind, let's put that in the new business. As far as to see what direction we need to go, and I think that's town meeting vote, I think.
It is.
Yeah, okay, so. That
Okay.
way you, hopefully you'll hear from Mike by that time and. Okay, I'll tell him now or never, no pressure, but it's now or never, Mike.
I'll get in touch with him tomorrow.
Okay, cause it kind of ties us up from doing business sometimes. When we don't even have people in the seats. So, okay. Is that it then? Jeff, do you have anything tonight? You just hanging out?
I do, if I may, real quick, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, before you adjourn,
Yeah, because we're ready to adjourn, so.
talking about new members and things like that. And in Templeton, we basically have governance by committee. The planning board, the select board, the board of health, board of assessors. Then we have the CPC, which is partly elected, partly appointed, and so on and so forth. Hard to get members. It's hard to get people to stay. It's commitment of time, and it only works when you have people. I was looking up some stuff for something, I forget what, and I saw something, so I contacted the town clerk. There's a guy that got himself elected May 2nd, 1988 to the planning board. His name is Mr. Frank Machete. And I came here tonight to thank him personally, in person, for his time and commitment to serving. Whether you like him, you don't like him, you agree with him, you don't agree with him. If you don't like him, go pull some papers, get some signatures and get elected. And he just doesn't sit on the planning board. A few years ago, when we was trying to get the senior center built up and stuff, I served on the senior center oversight committee with him, so he does do other things besides just sit at the planning board. But that's a long time to be on something, and it's longevity and it's commitment. And sometimes it's pain in the butt to show up for these meetings, but I want to come here and thank you
Thank you.
in person, Frank, for your time.
Yep.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you very much.
Frank, that's almost as long as I've been alive.
Almost.
And you still look great.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pops, for all those years of service. It's a long time.
Yeah,
So how many years is that? I can't do the math. 88.
I think it's 37. Long time.
Wow.
One
Dennis,
more thing, now that we have a member of the select board here, can we get our clock back?
what do you mean? What
I'll see what I can do.
happened?
You can't, it's gotta go on a new member.
We'll trade
Yeah.
you, Frank.